Hello, this is Jamie with Bloodrock Media, and I am with Mark Jansen from Epica right now. And we're going to be discussing all things Epica and maybe a few other things as well. Mark's glad to have you. So you got a new EP solid system.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
We had written 18 songs for the album. Yeah, we had written eventually more songs, but we selected 18 songs to be recorded. And from these 18 songs, we selected 12 to be on the album, the holographic principle. And that was just a matter of looking for what was the best flow for the album. And then we decided to put these 12 tracks on the album, and then we had 6 songs. What can you do with these 6 songs? You can make them bonus tracks, but it felt like a pity to have like this some of these songs end up like Japanese bonus tracks or something that not many people will hear. So we decided to keep them together and to release them as an EP.
Okay. So it sounds like they're pretty cohesive together, just as themselves. What inspired that? I guess those tracks and the holographic principle tracks. What kind of led you into making that album? Those tracks as well.
Music-wise or lyric-wise?
Music-wise first, then lyric-wise.
Yeah. Music, we were looking for what we could do different compared to the older albums, and then we decided to record everything with real orchestra, so real instruments. So we had percussion, we had brass, we had woodwinds, we had ethnic instruments. Everything what you hear is played by people. So it's really annoying, this drums. Maybe we can sit somewhere else.
All right, we can find another spot. So we were talking about the inspiration for the holographic principle. You were talking about all the real orchestral instruments and the folk instruments and all that kind of stuff. Go ahead. Sorry, we got interrupted there.
No, I have to say sorry because you were focused, but I couldn't concentrate. Yeah, so music-wise, that was one of the biggest changes we made. We also did put much more effort in the compositions of the songs. Mm-hmm. So we sat together, we jammed all these songs. Because when we start working on songs, it's each on our own. But when we come together, we start working on each other's tracks. So then everything can happen. You can do every suggestion you want to do. We try everything until we are satisfied. And then when we are completely satisfied, each and every one of us, because what one guy says, I don't like it at all, we keep working until we are happy. And that's different from the past when somebody delivered a song and we recorded in the studio and that's it.
So that was actually my next question, what the process was. So then how did the lyrics come together from there then?
Yeah, the lyrics, that the holographic principle is a theory. And Leonard Susskind is one of the founding fathers of the theory. And it's basically saying that the whole universe around us might be a matrix. So we all know the movie The Matrix, and it looks pretty science fiction, but it might be true after all, that it's something similar to that. And if you start thinking about it, it answers quite some questions about how the universe works, how quantum physics work. When you go into these small details, these little atoms and even smaller little particles, then you find really weird behavior.
Right.
And that doesn't make really sense for us. But if it's eventually like a sort of matrix, then it starts making sense.
Right. All the parts make a whole, sort of.
Yeah, and when we put consciousness into our universe, that's why it starts becoming the way it is. So there was a famous experiment, the dual slit experiment, back in the days already done, and that's when a particle gets fired and they look at the particle, then the particle behaves differently than when you don't observe it. And that implies that the whole universe around us just looks like this because we are watching it.
That's what we see.
Yeah, that's what we see. And when we're not looking, it's something different, but we don't know what it is then.
Interesting.
Yes,
interesting. So the recording process, when you guys are actually doing your tracks, how does that normally work?
We start recording with, like most bands, with the drums. but some bands don't start with drums.
Sometimes no.
So it's
Sometimes
good
we
to
start with
say.
guitars.
And then simultaneously guitars and bass. And in the meantime, I work on lyrics, because that's usually the moment for me to finalize the lyrics. As long as music changes, you can have great lyrics, but then if the music changes, you have to rewrite them. It's very frustrating. So I always wait till the music is completely done to write the lyrics. And then also you get inspired by the music. So certain parts ask for more aggressive lyrics, some parts ask for more philosophical lyric, and then you put like the puzzle together.
It's very interesting how lyrically, vocally, everything's put together by the time you guys are done with it, with the grunts, and then with Simone, and then with the choral parts and all that.
Yeah.
It's just intriguing how you guys do that to me.
Yeah, it's like one big puzzle which needs to be solved.
So, I mean, is there a method that you use typically? Like, do you do the grunts and then Simone and then the choirs?
Yeah, there are some kind of methods, but it's not necessarily that I start with the grunts or Simone with her vocals. It's just like, usually when we record, it's like when she has a break, I start doing some grunts. Because, yeah, the main focus is she has to feel comfortable. And when she feels comfortable, she records the best way possible. And whenever there's a break, I'm ready to jump in and to not lose any studio time. So that works very well. And in the meantime, then Koen is also often working at the choir parts. We all write choir parts, but he arranges them. So he adds all his magic to them.
Awesome. Awesome. So when you're tracking your vocals, is there a method that you do, like a warm-up or something that you do, or you just kind of get all gung-ho and go in there and do it?
Actually, during the years, you find out what works well for you. And for me, it works well when I record the vocals right after tour. So when I've been singing for 1 month, then my voice is in perfect shape.
I see.
When I stop for 1 month and then have to go to studio, it sounds like shit. So you have to find out. You don't know that when you do things for the first time. So now I know that preferably I record after a tour. Or else when there's no tour, I have to do at least 1 week of a lot of warm-ups and to get into...
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been kind of following your set list through the tour, and you've been playing quite a few from the holographic principle.
Yeah.
You find those songs pretty enjoyable to play live?
Yeah, but also there's some people, they say sometimes like, hey, it's time for new songs. We want to hear new songs and not all the time the old classics. So now we decided we play a lot of new songs. And then of course there are people that say, hey, we want to hear the old classics. But that will be done next time then again. More classics the next time.
Oh, so are you lining up sort of a retro tour in the future to kind of go back and look at some of the older catalog then?
If somewhere in the future, for sure, we will do some more focus on older work. Now it feels very enjoyable to play the new work. Still, we always check what the crowd thinks, and as long as the crowd is happy, we're happy too. If everybody would say, hey, there's too much new work, we don't like it, and we would change the set list. But as long as people are happy and say this is a set list we like, then we know we're doing a good thing.
Speaking of striking while the iron is hot, when's a new record coming out, a new full-length album?
A new full-length. Yeah, many people ask us about that.
I'm sure they do.
But it's this time we take our time for it, and we've been 15 years constantly writing, touring, writing, and now it feels like we let it go for a bit, and then when we feel it's time to write the next album, we pick it up. We feel like we don't have to now necessarily every 2 years release an album in order to stay in the picture.
You have been going really hard through your whole career,
And sometimes it's good to take it a bit more easy, because if you keep going, eventually you can go too fast and then maybe blow something up.
I see.
And
If you just tour constantly.
yeah,
right?
you are all the time together, and we luckily can get along very well. But we want to keep it that way.
Absolutely. So let's talk about mine a little bit. It's been a little while since you guys did Antagonize.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of news.
That's interesting. Please do.
So first of all, when Epica takes it easy after this tour, but this tour will still go on until August next year.
Right.
So pretty intense. But then Epica will take it easy for at least half a year, maybe 9 months before we start writing the new album. And in that time, Mayan will do a lot.
Good. That's exciting.
So at this moment we are writing new songs. We have now written 12 new songs. Because you have to plan these things very much in time, because when Epica takes that little break, that's exactly the moment that we want to release with Mayan the new album. And then we can release where Epica takes a break, take it with Mayan, and then we have like 9 months time to do as many tours as we want.
any live performances in the near future?
Yes, that's so from 2018 on, when that break happens, and for sure there will also be, at least we will try to get some US dates.
I was just about to ask about
because
North
there's many
American
people
dates.
asking us for that. And,
yes, North American fans would love to see Mayan.
I many people on this tour, on every VIP session we do, people ask me about Mayan, when are you coming with Mayan? Of course, that you remember that, and then I think like we should do something with that.
Yes, that would be amazing. Okay, so I read this on Wikipedia. Tell me, is it true that you have a master's in psychology?
It's true.
You do?
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me about that a little bit. What inspired you to do that?
An honest answer? Because all the girls were going there.
That's all right. I went to nursing school for the same reason.
Because my life is basically I do things that I enjoy doing, and so I could choose between studying economics, all these things, but that was pretty boring to me, and I thought I'm really not going to have a good time there. And then my girlfriend at the time, she was going to study psychology, and she said, all my friends are studying psychology too, and we went there for to look, and I saw there was 90% girls. It was great atmosphere. I thought I'm going to do that too.
Yeah, just like I said with nursing school. Okay, so let's talk about gear a little bit.
Yeah.
Amp.
I play Bogner, Überschall, but now I have the sort of power grid. That's a simulation of the Bogner. So when I have my Bogner amps in Europe, can bring them here. Usually we play here then on Mesa Boogies, but now we tried this new thing, and it really sounds exactly like I'm playing at home with my Bogner amp.
Is it a Kemper profiler?
It's that Kemper is more like a thing in the past, but now it's really, because that sound I never really liked. Then you still hear it's not a real thing. But this thing I let people hear the simulation and the real amp, and they cannot tell the difference. Producers and sound engineers. So then I said, now I want to try it. Before, all these Kempers and all that stuff, I hated it.
Is there any particular speaker that you're fond of in your rig?
Speaker?
Yeah, are you like an Eminence guy or a Celestian guy, or?
Yeah, I have my own Mesa speaker, and that's that 2x12. It's great. It's a great sound. But then since actually
a lot of folks track their guitars with those, actually.
Yeah, it was. But actually something changed since Isaac played in the studio, and he blew one speaker up. Our guitar tech got a new speaker. He said it's exactly the same, but ever since it sounds different. And then another guy that we work with, he said, because that's this cheap Chinese stuff. They don't sound the same. Our guitar technician says it's bullshit, but that guy who has also a lot of experience says it's because of that reason. And for me, it does sound different. So I tend to believe that other guy.
I tend to believe the other guy too. What do you use in your pedal board, effects, racks?
Nothing. I just have my metal sound and a clean. So that's it.
Awesome.
Because in the past I also had my this food switches and everything, and then one cable breaks down and you have to see what the fuck is going on, where is the problem, or somebody stands on it, and then what you at the other side of the stage, what's going on,
and then you got no sound.
Yeah, so I keep it as simple as possible, and especially also because Isaac is the solo guitar player, so he needs also solo sound, but for me it's It's just metal sound and a clean. Now we have a set with only metal. I don't even use clean anywhere in the set. So that's even easier.
That's even
through
easier.
The whole
just need
set,
one channel.
I have just one sound.
So guitars, still with Ibanez. Tell me about your Ibanez.
Yeah, I fell in love with Ibanez when I was a kid, and ever since, whoever came to me, hey, we can do a deal with this guitar, that guitar. So far, I always stayed with Ibanez because that's for me. I won't say it's forever the case, because you never know if there comes an amazing guitar with it. But I really love Ibanez. The first guitar I bought was Ibanez. Basically all the guitars I have at home are Ibanez's. I have also one Paul Reed Smith that I got from a good friend of mine who passed away from ALS disease, and he said, I really want you to have my guitar. Then you always, when you pick up the guitar, you think about me.
That's awesome.
And that's really happens.
That's
Whenever
awesome.
I see the guitar, I think about him. And it's a sad situation, but a beautiful guitar.
And it's a beautiful piece to have.
Yeah, it's an amazing guitar, and gives me goosebumps even now.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what's the one piece you can't live without, out of all your gear? It's hard to choose, isn't it?
What I really nowadays, what's hard to live without is my travel setup to record music, because first of all I see myself as a composer, and then second as a guitar player. So when I'm traveling in a plane and I can open my laptop, connect all my stuff and start composing, I have a little keyboard, and then I can do basically whatever I want. Just the only thing is you cannot record guitars. Yeah, that's impossible in a plane.
You have to have an interface.
Yeah, but yeah, and a guitar that's not going to work in a plane.
True.
But all the rest I can do in a plane. So I can write songs. I can do whatever I want. I have great sounds and all. Yeah, it's nowadays so simple. In the past, it was a dream to have something like this, and now you buy Logic for what is it nowadays, $300. You can record everything you want.
Yeah, that opens up a lot of doors. Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of a fun thing I like to do when I interview folks. Give me one or two bands from the 80s that you can't live without.
Oh. Yeah, then for sure Iron Maiden. That's one of the reasons why I got into metal.
Okay. What about from the 90s then?
90s. Yeah, because most of the music that I really loved was from the 80s, and then in the 90s already, for me it felt like the start of the decline. So, yeah, but many bands that were there in the 80s were there as well in the 90s.
True.
But
they're probably a little bigger in Europe where you were.
Megadeth, that was the first band the first heavier metal band that I started listening to. I bought their first album, Rust in Peace, just based on the cover.
Really?
I got into the record store. We had a little record store in my village where I lived back in the days, and I said, "What's the heaviest stuff you have?" And she came up with a few CDs, and then I saw that cover of Rust in Peace. I want to have this one. I bought it, went home,
and it
killer album,
life-changing record, right? So, one thing that you can remember from North America, since you've been here so many times now, what can you tell me about one memory that really sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, it's non-music related. Mm-hmm. It's I love to ride my bike on day offs, and sometimes I get then we are going somewhere on day off, and then I plan a route. I always go to the mountains, so wherever I am, I make a route that goes somewhere to the mountains, and yeah, I get to see so many great things. So recently I was Mount Diablo, close to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I climbed to the top, and then I saw a sunset. There was clouds, so I was on top of the mountain. There was clouds underneath me, and the sun was going down. It was magic, pure magic.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then I even saw also such a big spider on the road on that climb. So I stopped, took some pictures. Really, such a big one.
So, what about a Spinal Tap moment? Something that didn't go so great. that you
We
remember?
have Spinal Tap moments all the time. Sometimes you're in a venue and then you're looking for the stage and you're running around and you feel like, oh, this is Spinal Tap.
Hello, Cleveland.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all the time that movie. It is just exists full of cliches that all the time happen. Just that the cock in the pants that we don't do that. But all the rest, it's really happening.
All right, so you kind of hit on everything else. My next question was about hobbies. You already told me you like to ride your bike, and that's a really cool story that you
Yeah, I
have.
would
there.
have many hobbies as well, but that's the best one. That's my favorite hobby.
Well, thank you so much for talking.